Hello and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And this week we're talking to you about Meg's Choice, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte.
But first, how are you, Kelly?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're filming in my new RV. Do you like it?
We're not filming. We're audio
recording. We're not filming because, we're recording. I know all the lingo.
I'll just change that in post.
Yeah, just really badly put in the right word.
It'll be like a robot voice, like,
yeah,
we're recording in my trailer.
Yes, we're in my new RV, which I feel like would have been appropriate for Bloodhook.
Oh,
because remember the family in that movie last week?
Yes.
They had an RV.
Yes, that's great. And you know what else this reminds me of sitting in here? Do you remember that show called, was it Scare Tactics?
Yes.
So, one of the best Scare Tactics was they were sitting in an RV. And then,
just like this, sitting right by the window like this.
And this guy came in a Bigfoot costume, and the girl who screamed... Like, she was screaming bloody murder.
Full on believe that was Bigfoot there to murder her. I would, if something just came up this window right now.
No, it's true. So this is not a time for anybody to scare us.
No one's scare us right now.
That's what this reminds me of. That
was a great show. What happened to that show?
You know, Tracy Morgan was hosting it, and they play reruns sometimes. But
I wish
that I wish that there were new episodes. That was
a great show. That was a really good show.
Oh, so I have a funny story. You know, I think we mentioned this before, but my 3-year-old and your almost 6-year-old seem to be kind of following in our horror footsteps a bit.
Yeah.
And this week I was at a craft store with her, and my 3-year-old was like, she's a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. She doesn't play the game, but she just knows all the lingo and the characters. And we're at a craft store, and she's like, Mom, my friend was murdered in this aisle.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and there's like, there's women shopping for their craft supplies, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, she was stabbed. And I'm like,
my gosh.
But she knows this from, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever, and I'm just like, well, let's not talk about death. And she's like, no, but it's funny. Oh, you know what? We'll have to post, there's a video of her doing Red Rum.
Oh, yeah.
From when she was even younger, because she likes to scare people, and she's
just like her mom.
Yeah, so she's gonna definitely follow in our footsteps. But no one was actually murdered in a craft store. Don't worry, people.
That just sounds like me too. Like I just loved all of it. My dad always told the story about like his coworker saying like, why is your daughter so preoccupied with death? Like, what is her deal? When I was maybe 10.
It's like Lydia Deetz.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to be Lydia Deetz. You always say, like, why didn't she just marry Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, yeah.
Well, and just like, I wanted Christine to be with the Phantom,
I know. It's like, why not? What is the problem?
Women with the horror monsters.
Ship it all. Okay. Should we
talk about this week's choice? Your choice.
My choice.
Tell me about your history with this. Now, I had no idea that this meant so much to you. So
this is a really important movie to me.
Your whole being is changing. Yeah. What's happening?
This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
I love this movie.
Okay, when did you first watch it? What's your history with it? And tell us about the movie, too.
Okay, so Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, I watched it probably for the first time when I was about 9, and it completely just opened up this world to me of, this was the kind of old Hollywood I liked, and I think in the first episode of Horror Rewind I was talking about how I tormented my friend Jen. This is another way that I tormented her and many of my friends. I've forced them to watch horror movies at sleepovers. And I forced Jen to rent Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte with me when we were literally 9 or 10. And she hated every minute of it. I just felt like she had to find it as gripping and wonderful as I did, so I was just shocked that she didn't like it. I remember her jumping up out of bed and just being like, hell no. So the movie, let me get my notes. The movie was actually directed by the guy who directed, Robert Aldrich, who directed Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which is another great Bette Davis movie.
Now, is this technically a sequel?
No, it's not a sequel. In fact, apparently the name of the story that it's based on was called What Happened to Charlotte, but because it was such a similar name, they changed it to Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. And they said actually that when I was reading that Bette Davis actually came up with the title because she took it from the song that they used, the original song they used in the movie. Basically, though, they were kind of piggybacking on the success of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and that is a great movie, guys, if you haven't seen it. And they actually were going to have Joan Crawford be the role that Olivia de Havilland actually did, but... Well, there were some competing. I read one article. You actually sent me an article, and in that article, they were saying that Joan Crawford quit, but I was reading an article that said that she was fired. As we all know, Bette Davis.
There's some PR spin, I'm sure.
Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were not besties. When I was about 13, I read the biography of Bette Davis by her daughter. I am a huge Bette Davis fan. And Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte is the first Bette Davis movie that I watched. It was just it's one of those movies that I watched so many times as a child that when I'm watching it as an adult, it just brings you back to that moment, and there are all these like scenes that just, I remember them so well visually. It's funny how when you watch something as a kid, how well you can remember it compared to something I watched last week, you know,
right.
And I don't remember anything about it. As far as, the background, Olivia de Havilland is in it, and she is still alive. She is the oldest, living person that was in Gone with the Wind, which I think is kind of cool.
She was cousin Melanie.
She was cousin Melanie, and she's going to be 101 in July.
Holy.
So
I had no idea she was that old. I mean, I didn't realize she was still alive.
Yep, she's still alive, so that's cool. Agnes Moorehead's in this movie. A lot of people would know her from Bewitched. She was the mom in Bewitched. But I'm pretty sure that's true. But she's also in a great Twilight Zone episode that I did show to my kids. I do try to show them the Twilight Zone episodes. She's in a great one, you guys. And obviously Bette Davis. She needs no introduction. This movie kind of has a similar background of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, where there was lots of fighting between Joan Crawford and Bette Davis, but then, Joan Crawford either quit or was let go, or however you want to spin it, but it was filmed in the South, and it has a great sort of gothic Southern vibe that I really love. So, had you ever seen this movie before?
I somehow missed this movie in my life. It never was on my radar, and I have not seen Whatever Happened to Baby Jane either, which I know is crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so I've got it set on my DVR because it's going to be on AMC next
good.
week.
I wonder if it counts. You guys, I think it counts, right? I think it could count as a horror movie.
Oh. Yeah, probably.
I think it could.
But it's fascinating to me because I also have never heard you talk about this movie before.
Okay.
Which, I guess we don't talk about everything, but to find out that it's such an important part of your life, it's fascinating. So let's start talking about the movie.
Okay.
The first thing I wrote down is young Bruce Dern.
I didn't know it was Bruce Dern. Kelly, I didn't know.
You didn't remember.
I didn't remember, but even when I saw him.
you never knew.
I never knew. Oh. Then I saw him, and then, okay, this is embarrassing. So I IMDb'd it as I was watching it because the funeral director sounded like Piglet to me.
Oh.
I was like,
Piglet?
No.
Oh.
But I was like, he sounds so much like Piglet, and this came out around the same time, right? So I IMDb'd it to look if the funeral director was Piglet, and then I'm like, oh my god, that's Bruce Dern. I didn't even recognize him.
So I have to admit what an idiot I am. I didn't look up anything about the movie ahead of time. I wanted to go in cold. And when when what's her character name? Olivia de Havilland's character started talking. Miriam. When she started talking, I'm like, I wrote down, she sounds a lot like Cousin Melanie. She has that same kind of calm talk, and she's talking about carpetbaggers. Like, it's just bringing me back. I'm like, oh my god, it is her.
Oh, that's pretty cool, though.
I didn't realize it was Olivia de Havilland.
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
She has that same kind of...
It's just so soothing.
It's very calm.
Oh, okay, so the beginning. Oh my gosh. Okay, the meat cleaver disappears. What did you think when the meat cleaver is gone?
I knew it was on.
He loses his hand.
Yes.
He loses his head.
Yes.
And then it was very awkward how they did a young Betty Davis. They like sort of voiced over. It was like Betty Davis is so iconic. They didn't want to like do a young, like they didn't want to do an actress to play young. Right. So it was very awkward. But she comes out with blood all over her dress.
It was amazing.
I love it.
So her dress is amazing. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it's black and white, so you don't see the color of the blood. Mm-hmm. But the way that it shows up in black and white, it's so amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote Shitty Little Boys because then after that we go to the present day of 1964. And little boys are, like... trying to see the mean old lady that lives there, and of course she spooks them. And then when she gets up, she's like, John, did you notice? She's like, John, the guy who got his head cut off.
Yeah.
It's so funny, though, when I was watching it this time, I was like, again, you were saying, like, now we empathize with the older people. Her dad, when I watched it when I was a kid, I was like, he's so terrible. He doesn't want her to be with this guy. He was right. This guy was married. Yeah. And he was, like, trying to get it so... I mean, her dad was a dick. Don't get me wrong. But he was trying to not let her elope with a guy that was already married. Yeah, I think it was good advice.
Yeah.
But, of course, when I was younger, I'm just like, he's terrible. But now I'm like, oh, okay, actually, yeah. He was right on that one. So... Okay. When it happened, who did you think did it? Did you think she did it?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. I figured it was her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Okay. And I love then they cut to the next day and she's shooting.
Yes. That's shooting. So...
I love it.
I saw this press photo of that scene. And
cool.
We'll have to share that on our social media. I mean, what else do you need besides Betty Davis, like, with this rifle? It's so great. You know, something that kept popping up in my mind when I was watching this, especially in the beginning, it's like, oh, this is speaking to this era, or just this thing of women not being taken seriously, mm-hmm. women being seen as hysterical, women being told to calm down,
yes.
women being told what to do, they can't make their own decisions, and I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, this does explain a lot about Meg, and mm-hmm. where that strength and how she has to view the world, and it's so fascinating.
As I was watching it, I was like, wow, I think I see a lot of what I'm trying to do, which is, I could see the inspiration in this movie. She's such a tough old bitch, because she's a character that wasn't allowed, that's what they say about Betty Davis, is she played a lot of characters that just other women wouldn't play, and this is just such a good example of that, because she just plays this character that you just don't see in movies. Right. I mean, she's
not afraid to not look pretty. She's not afraid to not sound perfect or lovable, likable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that whole...
And how much do you love Velma, her maid / best friend in the whole world?
Velma is over the top, but I love her.
Oh, she's so over the top. Yeah, very. I wrote, it does pass the Bechdel test, but all motivations and grudges have begun with men.
Right.
So it definitely passes the Bechdel test, but it unfortunately, and again, this is a symptom of the time, is that pretty much everything that is happening is about men and the jealousy that Charlotte has with Jewel Mayhew. That name has always stuck in my head. Jewel Mayhew as being like the coolest name in the world.
That is cool.
I love that name.
You know, something that I was thinking about too with watching this movie. Two things. First of all, it's scary to think of someone that you love losing their mind or not being altogether with it. But then also, like, you yourself losing your mind and not remembering things and knowing the truth.
I think that's the scariest thing in the world.
And, or to think that these people that you love and trust are actually plotting against you. It's that all gets to real terrifying stuff again. And then the other thing I was thinking about is being in a house that has this murder or this history of death, and would it be enough to drive you mad? And if
it sounds like she's alone there.
Oh yeah, but you know, what if everybody keeps telling you you're crazy? Like, will you become crazy? You know,
and if everybody keeps telling you killed this man, do you eventually start believing you did?
Do you become a killer?
Yeah, which I guess kind of does happen in this movie.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the reveal that Joseph Cotton, I don't remember his name, the doctor, and Miriam are plotting against her?
I thought it was a great reveal. And I said I love that they revealed their plans and we got all filled in, you know.
They definitely, they were like the villains in superhero movies that like tell you everything they're doing. Yeah, that did him in the end. But what did you think before that? I'm just curious. Did you think like ghosts are going on? Is she losing her mind? People are playing tricks? What did you think?
I thought it was in her mind.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure. I hadn't, like I said, I went into this cold because I just wanted to watch it fresh for the first time without knowing, and so it was a good reveal.
Okay, cool. That's cool to hear. And I think what was so creepy to me was this is Cousin Melanie from Gone with the Wind. So that was a really good... They played that well. I feel like if Joan Crawford had played that role, it would have been like, obviously she's falling against her. Like, I just don't think that would have flown.
But she just seems so gentle
and kind. Oh, she's so gentle, but you guys...
evil.
She's not. Oh, one of my favorite parts is when she's walking out, and this is before the reveal, and Velma hands her a slip of paper that dropped to the floor that says murderess. And I was like, can we please bring that word back?
Oh, it's such a good word.
I love that word.
Yes.
That's a great word. I wrote that there's a dichotomy of Charlotte. She wears her hair really long, and her voice is almost childlike.
Yes.
She has like this youthfulness about her, but yet her face, she's old. She's definitely of the senior citizen variety, but she's, you know, maybe that harkens back to whatever happened to Baby Jane a little bit, but it's just kind of this kind of creepy youthfulness that she has, childness.
Yeah. And it's wrong. It's out of place. Her hair shouldn't be that long.
No, it's creepy.
It's like she's never progressed past her youth.
Yeah,
in that sense.
Exactly. And she just has this fixation on John that was, this happened 40 years ago, which, by the way, I wrote so racist.
Oh.
With the,
yeah.
Yeah. You know, this movie's 1964, guys. And then the first part took place in 1927, so... But, yeah. But there's so many women in this movie.
There are. I wrote that down as well, that there are so many women, and it definitely has interesting characters. They're not just one note.
And I think what I wrote... So when... they make her believe that she killed the doctor, which, by the way, this is the most elaborate plan in the history of the world. Wasn't that elaborate? Yeah. That was out of control. But I wrote 2 women disposing of a body, and I thought, no wonder I liked this movie when I was a kid. I was a strange kid. I was watching it going, my son is almost 10, and I'm thinking he would not watch this. And I'm thinking, what sort of strange little girl would watch this, but it spoke to me on so many different levels. And you have 2 women disposing of a body, you have a woman being accused of murder, you have a woman who's blackmailing another woman. You have who we find out ends up being the actual murderer of John is Jewel Mayhew with that great name. You have just women doing stuff, which I'm always so happy to see. So I think that that's why I like this movie so much. And anyone who knows me knows I have this unhealthy obsession with Lizzie Borden, and I think this movie kind of, to me, sort of tied into my fascination with the rage and the anger it would take for a woman to use a meat cleaver.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Lizzie did not use a meat cleaver, but I don't know. There's just so many cool things in this movie. What else?
I wrote down that it was beautifully shot. What a beautiful movie. And it definitely reminded me, besides Cousin Melanie, it had that Gone with the Wind vibe, that Southern Gothic. Mm-hmm. Not that Gone with the Wind is, but just that Southern feel to it. And the house and everything was really beautiful.
I wrote, is it wrong that I sort of want her life to live alone on a plantation? I think that's the mom in me. You were talking before, when a couple weeks ago we were talking about Bloodhook. You said you just want silence.
Right.
I think there was something that seemed very nice about being at her plantation house alone. But you know what was so cool that I liked about this movie too? Velma goes out of her way to go save Charlotte.
Yeah.
And it's a friendship.
Yeah.
It was like a woman helping another woman solely out of friendship.
Right.
And I just thought that was cool.
No, I really like that. We don't always see that. We see the feud stuff or the catty stuff or the jealousy stuff.
Exactly. And it was like a woman helping another woman and caring. And, of course, that did poor Velma in. Velma, did you have to knock over a vase? She knocked over a vase. Then she went... she did not handle that very well, but she tried. But that was a really scary moment for me when Miriam pushed her on the stairs, because it was like, wow, okay, she's for real. And then, of course, well, what did you think of the scene where Charlotte kind of gets her revenge?
I just like when we were talking about Carrie in week 2, I was rooting for her because these people have been horrible to her.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the best in a horror movie when you can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, because, a lot of horror movies, the bad guy, you're not rooting for them. And not that Charlotte's a bad guy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but that's kind of what's cool about this movie is you don't know who the bad guy is.
True.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm going to ask you some questions, and then we can talk more about it. But when's the last time you have watched this up until this rewatch?
I mean, a long time, probably high school or something. Yeah.
So, did it live up to your memories of it?
Yeah, I was just the whole time, and it's one of those things where when you love something as a child, you probably can't watch it objectively, but the whole time I was just beaming. I just love this movie.
Did any scene stand out to you in this rewatch?
Well, I think like what I was just saying before about her relationship with Charlotte and Velma, I really liked that. Obviously when I was a kid, I focused more on like, his hand got cut off!
The head rolling down the stairs.
the really fake ass head rolling down the stairs. Apparently Bette Davis didn't want to do this movie because the head rolling down the stairs was like too much for her apparently, but I guess she got over that. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think this time around, being a little older, I appreciated more of, like, the interpersonal things.
Was there anything that you didn't remember?
I never knew that was Bruce Dern.
Okay, well, so there's that.
Oh, what I didn't remember. You know what? I didn't remember who killed John.
Okay.
I didn't remember that part. So that was actually kind of fun. It did come to me as I was watching it, but I didn't remember.
Now, how would you say the movie aged?
You know...
Do you think it still stands?
I think that kids these days would maybe have a little trouble getting into it, I feel like. But I feel like if they did, they would really like it. But I could see how somebody would be like, oh, this movie seems dated or something. But again, it's hard for me to say objectively.
Was it ever scary to you, or do you think it's still scary?
I remember being scared of the head rolling down the stairs and that kind of stuff. And when I say scared, I think we've talked before.
Yeah.
We were not the kinds of kids. I never woke up my parents because I was having nightmares or anything like that. I am somebody who enjoys the feeling of being scared. Just like how some people, like, I hate roller coasters. Some people like actually being on a roller coaster. That's how I am with horror movies. I like that feeling. So it gives me thrills, yeah. And when he's coming down the stairs, like after they make her think she killed him, and he's like, I always thought that was a creepy part. Yeah.
No, it's great. All right, next we have our fast forward segment. We're going to talk a bit. It's very related, actually.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm going to talk a bit about Feud, Betty and Joan.
Oh, yes.
The Ryan Murphy show on FX right now. Now, this is starring Jessica Lange and Susan Sarandon. And can I just tell you how perfectly cast these women are? Have you watched this?
No, I haven't watched it. I want to watch it because as I was saying, I frickin' love Betty Davis. Okay. So, and I love Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which I know that's a big part of it.
It's absolutely fascinating. I just watched the first 2 episodes, and I watched it after I did this Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, okay, so Ryan Murphy, you might know him from American Horror Story. I was introduced to him because of Glee. I loved Glee for a little while.
We all loved Glee for a little while.
Yeah, right. And then I also I loved American Horror Story for a while too. I have to admit I have not watched the latest.
You
season,
guys,
but
let's just be real for a minute. American Horror Story is not that great.
Well,
sorry.
It gets too complicated. There's too many things going on, and
not enough characters I give a crap about.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
I watched I liked the first season of American Horror Story. I even liked the second, the third. Once we got into what was the one, the carnival?
Yeah, the freak show.
The freak show. I was like, I don't care anymore. And that says something, because we literally have a horror podcast.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I might have to revisit it. I'll try Hotel. I don't know.
I don't know.
And then there's going to be a political one. I don't know.
Ooh, you're
But Ryan Murphy, you do make good television, and this Feud. Let me tell you, this is my kind of show, because I love classic Hollywood just in general, and all of this behind the scenes gossipy stuff. That's fascinating to me. Catherine Zeta-Jones is unrecognizable as Olivia de Havilland.
She's in it? She's Olivia de Havilland?
Yeah, and
who is she? Are they talking about this movie, or what is she doing?
Well, you'll just have to see it. I'm not even going to give it away.
All right.
But she is unrecognizable and amazing. Kathy Bates is in it.
Oh.
Talking about parts for women, Ryan Murphy, you have to admit, has given a lot of...
He does, and he actually gives parts to women that are older than 25, which is a nice treat.
So that is definitely a good thing.
Susan Sarandon seems perfect.
Oh my gosh. She is... like the spinning image in this movie.
Betty Davis is not an easy person, I feel like, to look and act like.
So they've recreated just short scenes or clips from all of these classic movies of theirs, and the recreations are stunning.
Wow.
They look so much like the characters. I mean, not that it's all about that, but my God, it's really
helped,
good.
Yeah.
Another theme that I think you'll find really interesting in this, and I'm not giving anything away, but it's just about being an aging actress in Hollywood and how much of a problem it was then that there just weren't parts for older women. And of course, the problem isn't solved now, but at least I think we're acknowledging it more. And like Ryan Murphy purposely putting older women into these shows of his, and some movies being made with parts for older women. What do you think? Do you think we're working towards it?
I feel like in all ways that we're working toward, in all media with every kind of diversity, we're all trying. I feel like we're not there yet, but I definitely think, and I think Ryan Murphy's doing a great job of having diverse casts, both with older women and other, different races and everything.
there's a scene that you'll really appreciate, but Joan Crawford, she's not getting offered any roles, and she goes into the bookstore, or she has her maid or servant go into the bookstore and look for covers of books that have women on them because she wants to find a good book that they can make into a movie.
Okay.
And there's a quote, Joan Crawford says, women fall into 3 categories. They're either ingenues, mothers, or gorgons, and there's no interesting parts. And then she found the book, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and she's like, this has to be made to a movie, and so she sent it to the director. And, according to this show Feud, I don't know how much of this is accurate, but and then she knew that Bette Davis would be great in this role, and it's just so fascinating to see this process. And they wanted to cast younger women, apparently younger, sexier women, and not older actresses, but they stuck to their guns and they got it made, and it's of course great. The rest is history.
We gotta watch it.
Yeah,
we gotta watch. I'm gonna watch that show, and we have to watch Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Another thing that I find interesting in this show Feud, they're talking about this disdain for horror, and that it's not taken seriously, and that good movies aren't horror movies.
Yeah.
But what was starting to happen is that Psycho had just come out with Alfred Hitchcock, right before they started filming this, and finally something within that horror genre was critically acclaimed.
Oh, great! So it kind of opened the door for.
And so it opened the door, and it was all of a sudden like, oh, maybe we can do horror. And I feel like a lot of times it's still we're thinking about horror and it's not respected, or it's like, oh, well, that's cheesy, or oh, it's just going to be really gory, or whatever.
Yeah, and as a horror author, I come across that a lot, and I feel like I have to defend the genre. It's hard because you want to say, hey, listen, in horror, we have just as much symbolism and complex characters and all these things, yet, from the beginning of time, it seems like horror is just kind of considered not what you want to do. If you want to do literary fiction, there's no such thing as literary horror fiction, but I'm here to tell you that it does exist.
Yay.
And there are great films. And I feel like Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte is a really good example of a movie that is a psychological thriller that is a horror movie, but it's just a beautifully shot, well acted, well written, well rounded movie.
Yeah, just because it's horror doesn't mean that it can't be a great film,
or
a great book, or
and also there's nothing wrong with liking the blood hooks of the world.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with liking the cheesy horror movies either. Again,
you'll notice week to week our tastes range.
We like all types. We don't discriminate against horror movies. We like them all. Well, we got to figure out what we're going to watch for our next. We had all these planned out. We haven't planned out our next one.
So we're going to be planning out our
We're
next
having a planning session about what we're going to watch.
Now, we need to rate this week's things. And how about rolling heads?
Rolling heads down the stairs.
Out of
fake
between
rolling
1
heads.
to 10 rolling heads, how would you rate Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte?
Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte will always have 10 rolling heads.
Wow.
For me. I love this movie, and a lot of it is just that childhood love for it. But
absolutely. Okay. And I wouldn't rate it as high. I would give it an 8 rolling heads.
That's good.
I think it's absolutely a great movie. But crazily enough, it was my first watch. Now, the show Feud, you have not seen it yet, so you can't rate it.
No.
But I'm going to rate the show Feud with 6 rolling heads at this point. So I think it's got a lot of potential.
How many did you say you watched?
I've just watched the first 2 episodes.
The first 2 episodes. Were you watching it on demand?
Yeah, it's on demand. It's on FX. And I think it's still airing.
I definitely want to watch it.
And it is on demand, so watch that. And I am telling you, Jessica Lange and Susan Sarandon, I could watch these women act forever in these roles. It's fascinating.
I'm excited.
Behind the scenes Hollywood stuff.
And Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were just such I don't know,
Oh,
complicated,
my gosh.
fascinating women. Like I said, I
Yes.
read the biography of Betty Davis by her daughter, and it was rather scathing, but really good. Yeah, and Joan Crawford, I mean, we all know she was an interesting lady, to say the least. So yeah, I'd like to see
A
that.
couple fun other crossover things. I watch other TV shows besides horror TV shows. In Feud, Kiernan Shipka from Mad Men, she's playing Betty Davis's daughter. So that's kind of fun to see her. And then Martha from The Americans, she is in this movie also. She works with the director. So a couple of shout outs to another.
Lots of good female roles, like you're saying. That's great.
Ton of females.
That's
Oh,
really
and
cool.
Alfred Molina is playing the director. I thought he was really well cast. I saw some photos of the director.
Interesting.
And everybody looks great.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So what's happening for you coming up? Anything that you want to plug or talk about?
Oh, wow. I don't think we're going to any cons soon, are we?
No, something that is coming up in the future that we were excited to talk about is the Women in Horror Film Festival coming up in the fall in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing there?
Oh, I will be there signing copies of my books. I will be there supporting female horror filmmakers. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really fun. I've never been into anything like that.
I guess there's going to be some films shown, and there's going to be women from horror movies and writers and directors, and it's just going to be really exciting.
Heather Langenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street is going to be there, so that's really cool. And anytime when I heard Women Horror Film Festival, those are all words that I like.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. So, yeah, we're very excited for that. And also, I will be at the Minneapolis Comic-Con, the Wizard World, on Friday, May 5th. So come visit me there. And I'll also be at Comic Palooza in Texas on May, I think, 11th and 12th.
Someone will be listening to this in the year 2020 and be like, I showed up and you weren't there.
You weren't there, yes. Yeah, you should visit me in 2017. But yeah, so I really like doing cons because the people are so cool, and there's just, I don't know, there's a certain type of person that's like a fan that I just get. I love fans.
We're fangirls.
Yeah, we're fangirls.
And so maybe sometimes that's used as a derogatory term, but I embrace it.
Oh, yeah, heck no. No, we're proud fangirls, and we don't hide anymore. We love it all. What are you fangirling lately?
Oh, okay, so some things that are not horror, but I recently finished the series Vikings. It's on the History Channel.
I need to watch that too.
And I know that doesn't necessarily sound like, something that I'd be interested or you'd be interested in, but let me tell you, it's good.
And how about you? Are there any hot blondes?
There are. Let's just say Ragnar Lothbrok is blonde. You'll get over the name quickly.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
Okay.
Have you been watching anything lately?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Oh, we haven't talked about Big Little Lies.
Did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. Andrew Skarsgård is the hot blonde in that one, but I won't go into that.
Blondes, my God.
Yeah.
Okay. We
won't
love
spoil
him
that.
from True Blood. No, we're not going to give anything away. But speaking of horror, he was Eric in True Blood, and I love him. And we went to see Tarzan last summer because we read this amazing review.
There was a woman who wrote a review of Tarzan
after drinking a bottle of wine,
after being quite healthfully buzzed at the movie, and it was just basically her just like talking about
describing his abs.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, let's
we
go
have to do that.
Tarzan, and he was beautiful in it. He was beautiful. The movie was boring, but he was beautiful. But Big Little Lies is really good.
And another great show, and not in the horror genre, but another show we recommend. It's HBO Go.
Yeah,
right now
on demand. HBO, but it does have to do with a murder.
Yeah, so there is that.
I mean, what more do you want, really?
No, I absolutely recommend.
Yeah. So there's so much good TV now.
Oh, TV
and good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast is kind of harkening back to the days when we went to go get horror movies from the video store, but now we don't need to do that anymore.
No,
they're at our fingertips. It's pretty nice.
We're living the dream.
We're living the dream. Did you finish Prevenge yet?
I haven't, but
okay, I haven't either. I haven't watched it.
It's on my Shudder app, and I'm about halfway through, and I'm loving it. So
okay, good. I'm excited.
So yes,
I'm excited to watch that. Okay, you guys. Kelly, where can people find?
If you're looking for us, if you're looking for me, you can look at our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter, or our YouTube channel. We're Horror Rewind, and Meg, remember MEGHAFDAHL. Did I just spell it right? Wow.
You spelled it right.
I've never had to
spell. You never actually had to spell my last name.
So there you go.
That was a test. And you passed.
She's also on all of the social media. So
yep.
Follow us, tweet us, send us a message, and
let us know what movies we should do. Give us some suggestions, because there might be movies we watched as a kid and we forgot.
So we are going to we don't have a preview view for the next episode, but we will let you know soon on social media what we're watching next. Otherwise, we'll see you in the horror section.
Bye.